Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk About It. Hey, welcome to Let's Talk About It.
Oh, you wanna talk? Okay then. Baby, just say that up to drunk.
It is our last episode of the season
finale. Oh my gosh.
Aw, and round of applause.
Yeah.
Like,
do a little mashup.
Little mashup.
Hilarious.
Like, it's been so much fun doing this podcast.
Honestly.
Oh
yeah. Like, as much as it's obviously a lot of work for everything. At least, it's a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
I guess.
No, it's just like a really nice escape, I feel like.
Yeah.
That we take. And I mean, we're going to do a big break over the summer.
I think it'll just be like 3 months.
Yeah. And that's fine. Guys, you guys are okay. You need a little bit of break from politics sometimes.
I agree. You can't be learning it all year round.
It's not good for you.
Absolutely not.
And I mean, it's just we don't have a podcast studio over the summer.
Yeah, we're gaslighting you guys right now. Making you feel like you don't need an episode. We just can't give them to you.
We just can't.
You're going to have to get used to it.
Sorry about that. We don't live in Hamilton.
Thank
the God. But our town's probably worse.
Listen.
Whippy?
I can't even speak on it. I'm going to get sick.
Sorry, guys.
Anyways, for our last episode today, I know we've had a few fun little features the last couple weeks, and honestly, we've loved having our guests on.
It's been so nice.
It's like a empty
it's so weird
space without them now.
It's so weird.
But I thought we'd go back to maybe our roots, our politics roots. We've been playing it, talking about hot takes and education, all this stuff the last few weeks.
Go back to politics for a little bit.
Yeah. Just to wrap things up.
Just a nice way to go out with a nice bang.
Exactly. End off the same way we started off with you guys.
That's so beautiful, Raquel.
Bro, everything comes in a circle or something. Cyclical.
Cyclical. Bro.
I don't know.
That was quoting philosophers, right?
I don't know.
LMAO. So, this week, what spit it out. Sorry.
I'm so sick of her.
Sorry, I before we actually lock back in, Raquel sometimes stutters and I always go, spit it out.
She's so mean to me.
Every day.
I struggle with words sometimes.
And that's okay, bro.
I don't think it is. You don't make me feel like it's okay.
You'll get over it.
It's an abusive friendship, guys.
I love her so much. So this week, we are talking about the question, is the left losing Gen Z?
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Now, this is by this question, we kind of mean left-leaning, political, parties, but also in terms of left-leaning, traditional values and principles.
Exactly.
So when you think of, okay, are you on the left or the right side of the political spectrum? Mm-hmm. I would say, and a lot of scholars are saying, within the last, or I'd even say within the 21st century, there's been a kind of this rise of younger generations seemingly being more left-leaning than older generations.
Oh,
just as a basic fact.
Yes.
And now, in recent years, I want to say maybe within the last 5 years or so, I'll say probably past COVID, there's been rising concerns that maybe, the left is actually losing this base. Yeah. So we kind of talked about this. It's something we've been talking about for a bit. So we thought we'd kind of come up with some of the main, reasons that we think this phenomenon
No, you got it.
is happening.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just kind of having a quick chat about it because honestly, we're not saying you have to be left-leaning, right-leaning, whatever you are, we don't care. But it is a shift that we're witnessing in the political sphere.
This is merely an observation, and we're trying to put now reasoning to that observation.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Guys, we're scholars. We do this theoretical stuff all the time.
Yeah, per.
So let's go over, I feel like we have in the stock activism burnout, and that's kind of one of the main ones. And before, because I know you wrote this down, before you kind of go into the activism burnout and things like that, I want to say that I think one of the main reasons why there actually was a shift towards left-leaning ideologies among younger people is because of activism. If you think back, a lot of groups that are a lot more, I think, easily organized around social movements have been younger groups.
Yeah.
And so when you did enter the 21st century, when you are in the 2000s, 2010s, and I really, really want to highlight the last decade. So from 2016, 2015, there really, really was an emphasis, there was an emphasis amongst younger people on becoming more progressive values, on shifting ideologies, things like that. So when you looked at different protests like Women's March in the Washington, D.C. Capitol, but even down here, and you look at things like reproductive rights, racism, homophobia, landmark decisions for same-sex marriage, a lot of the people who are supporting these causes are young people.
Yeah.
I don't think we really have an answer as to why. I think as the generations keep going on, and you see the younger generations are growing up, I think there is this want for justice. Mm-hmm. I think there is this want to be better than we were previously.
Yeah.
And I think this is where the activism comes into play.
Yeah, it really shines through. I definitely agree. I think definitely, and you can see this mark kind of starting like the 70s and 80s and within the 20th century of a lot of young people garnering support and collectivizing and like making, protests and petitions and all these things. And they were seeing change.
Yes.
And I think that's what was promoting this idea, at least in, literature and research and all this stuff, that, younger people are more left-leaning because they are following these traditional values, like wanting to support social justice movements.
Exactly.
They care about, reproductive rights and rights of women and, the LGBTQ plus community and things like that we wouldn't see in a typical right-leaning boomer or something.
Boomer.
When that was a big thing, and obviously there's movement between all parties and stuff like that. But this general idea, younger people are more left-leaning, older people more right.
Yep.
However, with this specific topic about activism, what I believe that we've been seeing, especially since like 2020, is this thing that people are calling like activism burnout.
Yeah.
And honestly, like we've talked about it a lot before. Mm-hmm. You're talking about like BLM and those protests and things like that, where a lot of people, including ourselves, were very involved in protests and petitions and social media, reposting, spreading awareness, all these things. And that went strong for a very long time within, our generation, our community. Yeah. And then kind of took a stark drop.
Okay. Yes.
Now we still see a resurgence with Palestine versus like Israel and that war and everything that's going on there. We still see social media activism, but there's a significant amount less than I think we had maybe 5 years ago.
I would completely agree. I think from 2015, 2016, that really is where you kind of found your roots. And then that there was a huge, and not to bring American politics into this, but there was a really, really big movement towards political leaders like Bernie Sanders, right?
Yes.
Because he advocates for social movements. He advocates for activism and advocacy, and so I think a lot of young people saw themselves reflected in that.
Yeah.
And so that was just an example as to this kind of movement up, right? And then I want to say let's hit 2020 and then 2021, and this is where I think you get the biggest pop and then the biggest fall.
Yeah.
Which if you want to visualize that, because I think if you think back to 2020, think back to your social media feeds, think back to the conversations you were having with people,
friendships that were ending at the time, and
this was the heat and the peak of, let's say, modern day activism in the 21st century.
Yeah.
You had numerous protests. You had so much social discourse on racial issues, on gender issues, on societal issues, and things like oppression. And so, however, you hit that peak in 2020, 2021, and then ever so slowly it started going like this.
Yeah.
And now we've kind of entered this period where there is this shift away from activism. There is this activism burnout, and there's this shift towards more conservative ideologies and more populism, which we'll get to later on.
Yeah. And honestly, one of the theories that we thought would maybe kind of explain the reason why this burnout is happening, yes, of course, it can be tiring. It's going out of your way to do this. But the main driving force of why we believe, or at least I believe, that activism burnout is happening is because we're not seeing change in the way that I think we would have been able to see change if we lived 30, 40 years ago.
Exactly.
If you're comparing, again, to the 70s, 80s, when a lot of these protests were actively making change and things were, I'm not saying they were more effective potentially. Yep. And now with our political state right now in Canada and the United States, it's just, I feel very difficult for us to think that we can make a change. And when you are constantly signing petitions and going to protests and going out of your way to educate people and none of it's really sticking, it gets annoying, it gets frustrating, it gets tiring.
Yes.
Because you're seeing this thing where you're like, okay, well, I'm just going to be more apathetic towards these things now because I don't have any value in it.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, people are losing value in activism because they're not seeing any, change.
Yes.
In fact, we're seeing digression, or not digression, sorry, regression.
Yeah,
back
you got
to times before the 70s and 80s when a lot of these progressive movements were happening.
Exactly. You bring up such a fantastic point in this idea of like not being able to see change. And something I want to kind of like I think we should look at a little bit more is like this idea that, okay, we're not seeing change because let's look at some of the more topical issues that we're facing right now. These are issues that we are no longer finding consensus on. And that's the main issue, Division. We've entered a time, right, where I think, okay, people who, let's say, are in more privileged classes, and this doesn't necessarily have to do anything about race, but privileged classes, you are able-bodied, you are of a favorable race, gender, sexuality, things like that. People in these privileged and elite classes, right, are kind of now saying, well, listen, we gave you what you want, okay? You wanted rights, we gave that to you, okay? Yeah. We looked back, we realized, okay, these oppressional systems, we realized that those were bad, okay? We tried to scale them back, okay? We gave you the things that you were advocating for, okay? What more do you want now? And so now when you're looking at a lot of social issues, it seems like people are now being nitpicky, which is now causing further issues because no one can find consensus on anything.
Yeah.
And that leads to extra burnout because now you're like, you can't even understand why this is bothering me.
Yeah.
And this is like very vague, but I'm trying to really like direct your attention towards, let's say, some conversations around people in the LGBTQ plus community, right? Where now it's no longer an issue. It's still an issue, but it's no longer a conversation of, okay, well, should gay people have the right to be married because you have that right, or how do we break down homophobic systems? You're now having people on, let's say, the right or in these elite parties or whatever. Sorry, hard way to describe them. Mm-hmm. But you're not having them kind of now be like, well, now all you activists are concerned about whether or not trans people can be in women's bathrooms. The conversation it's shifting. It's no longer about, okay, I'll explain what I mean. But it's no longer about these big issues. I feel like there is a sentiment of people who are trying to shift the conversation on its head on something that doesn't actually matter and people aren't actually advocating for, but they're trying to make it seem like that.
Like you're saying, like they've given us small things and they're like, that should be enough for you.
Exactly.
And that's why we're finding so much difficulty in finding consensus on current social justice issues.
Exactly.
Because now the people who are against that social justice issue have it in their back pocket to go, well, I've already given you something.
Yeah.
That should be enough.
Why would you want more?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's allowed them to now create this false idea that these other niche issues that we're talking about aren't as important because you already have this.
Yeah.
Thank you for summarizing that because I realized I didn't get that.
No, I just wanted to clarify.
No, thank you.
You're bringing up a great point. Yeah. And honestly, I was going to say something about political parties, but it's lost me now.
That's
but
okay. It'll come to you, I'm sure.
Kind of circling back to this whole idea about how, these people who originally were focused on a lot of social justice issues and things like that are now feeling almost apathetic towards them. Really, I believe is this shift in this belief that change can't come from the bottom up anymore. And it goes into apathy towards a lot more than just social justice. It's also towards political systems, towards government and the prison system and all these things where people are like, I don't care about it. I don't know anything about it. I don't talk politics. A lot of issues that we've covered so far in this season. And it's this idea, well, why would we even use our energy to do these things if we can't change anything?
Yeah, exactly.
We might as well focus on the things that we can change, like economics or putting more money in my pocket.
Yes.
Because we can advocate for these little niche things that you're talking about, but if they're not going to get fixed, then I might as well use my energy to focus on, putting more money in my own pocket, getting rid of social programs that will inevitably give me back more money because, that's what a lot of the right-leaning parties are kind of advocating for.
Yes.
So I think that could be a reason that explains the shift from
100%.
left-leaning to right-leaning, because left-leaning, they're feeling like they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And this regression of all these laws and stuff like that, those who are still being activists for these important issues aren't getting anywhere in the way that they would 30, 40 years ago.
100%.
So our energy is almost being wasted in a sense.
Do you want to go on to the next point?
Yeah, well, I would love to bring up this other point that's topical for us at the moment. Maybe when this is posted, it'll be a little less topical, but I think it relates to the thing we just talked about.
Yeah.
Again, we just kind of want to clarify when we're talking about like left-leaning, values and things like that. Like we're going textbook-based things where, traditionally, you're finding that like liberals or Democrats or whatever are going to be focused on things like environmentalism. They're going to be focused on things like social justice, about tearing down systemic, systems of oppression and things like that.
Yeah.
And similarly to kind of this conversation about activism burnout is this, okay, it's sick to me. Okay, I have to bring it up. Yeah. We're going to play a video.
Okay,
really quickly. I think we're going to play it now. Yeah. Because I can't explain my point without showing you guys this tomfoolery.
Tomfoolery.
Because, okay, we're going to play a video right now.
Yeah.
Watch it.
Watch it.
Taking up space!
Tamir's in space.
It's okay. Leave Flynn up there. Flynn, behind you. Look.
Okay, so what you guys just saw was Katy Perry and
oh my god,
a group of other women flying to space.
Flying, no, I guess it's flying.
Flying?
Yeah, they are flying,
bro. They're doing something.
They're doing something. Bro.
I don't know. It's such a flagrant display of wealth that is just so like.
It's just why
it's sickening. They went up for 11 minutes,
but it's just,
and then Katie's just like Daisy.
Cover me in daisies.
And she sang a What a Wonderful World, apparently, when she was driving.
I thought she was saying Firework. I was like...
No, they wanted her to, and she said no.
Oh, sorry. I can go to space for no fucking reason. Sorry. Yeah. Excuse me, but I can go to space for no reason, but...
I can't sing Firework.
Can't sing Firework, actually.
Yeah. Anyway, so the reason that we show you this video today is because, honestly, it has sparked a lot of outrage online. Mm-hmm. It's similar to when, like, Taylor Swift was getting a lot of heat for how much, like, she was taking her private jet around and all this stuff. And it relates to this because, as we've mentioned, like, a key traditional core value of, I guess, left-leaning things, even if we go to Green Party, NDP, all these other parties, is environmentalism and making an effort. And we've seen a huge change in Canada within the last few years, especially under Trudeau, where we've had, paper straws, hell, bro. And all these like different policies about reducing our carbon footprint,
carbon tax that we had and then was just removed. Yeah,
thank you, Bernie. But all these like things where it's like, okay, as individuals, we're not only forced to make change and like favor of environmentalism, but a lot of us are also going out of our way to make change. We're buying secondhand, we're thrifting is the new like fad right now. Yeah. A lot less is focused on I don't know, like one-use containers, things like that.
Reusable,
Yeah, like
we're being more conscious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
However, this kind of media, like I guess seeing Katy Perry and seeing things like that, especially with like even the submarine in past years, where wealthy people are just doing the most environmentally like harmful things.
That make no sense.
Just cause. And it brings on this whole idea where things like environmentalism only applies to the poor.
Yep.
Wealthy can do whatever they want. Yep. So now you're getting a greater sense of apathy once again towards these traditional like left-leaning values because you're going, okay, well, why would I inconvenience myself? Nobody likes paper straws. I don't like paper straws. No. Go out of my way to do this when Katy Perry and all these other people, I'm not just signaling her out. She's just the only person I knew in the video and she looked crazy. But, like these people can just go and waste their money, spend millions to go up in the space for 11 minutes, probably set us back, all the work that we've done with environmentalism just to come back down and do nothing with it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Just, you're so right, because it's like, obviously, space exploration is important. You can have your own opinions about that, whatever, but the idea of understanding our universe has importance. Period, right? And so obviously, like the space trips and whatever, like the materials that are used, the carbon emissions that are produced are they balance itself out because the hope is that we get to understand our universe and our planet better by doing that, right? You taking your little butt okay, and a bunch of other women, because you're for feminism, which I think is just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous because it's not. You can prove feminism, and you can try to elevate women in so many other better ways. First of all, but second of all, you taking your butt up to space for 11 minutes, freaking minutes, using so many harmful materials to the planet for absolutely no reason.
No reason at all. And then we're all just supposed to go, yeah, perfect. Now let me go back to doing my inconvenient things in my life to make the environmental better. People don't care anymore.
No.
There's a shift. Not only
like, why would I do that?
Exactly. People are like, okay, well, why do I care about the environment? Why am I doing all this stuff if it only applies to the poor people and the rich people get to keep doing the things that are primarily destroying our earth?
100%.
And I saw like a TikTok comment or something when I was watching this video, and it was like, like space tourism is the final stage of capitalism. Like it's this sick thing where you know what I'm saying? Like people
space
are just
tourism.
This is what I'm saying. Like people are spending millions and millions of dollars to continue to destroy our Earth and our universe just cause. I'm not a Taylor Swift fan, but I also was I was angry. I was like, dude, like,
well, because it's like
how much money and how much carbon emissions are you guys releasing? Why are we doing anything? So I don't blame it. I'm saying Sophie and I are very environmentally friendly. Don't worry.
We're conscious.
But I'm saying a lot of people our age are seeing the stark division between us and the wealthy. And they're going, why would I make a change if they're not? And they're the main producers of the change. So then no one's making change.
No one is,
And people are moving away from traditional left
values. It's the idea of at this point, let me also play the game because it's no longer working in my favor to play against the game.
Exactly. Wow. Yo.
Sorry, guys. T.
Yo, T. Clock it.
Clock it.
Clock it.
Let's go on to our second point.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this is really, really will lead this conversation about this apathy is leading us towards a bigger conversation about mistrust.
Yeah.
So something else that we kind of were looking at in terms of looking at this regression, as you said.
I can't believe I said degression. Am I crazy? Sorry, guys.
No, it's
been a long week.
It's been a long week, yeah. This regression from left-leaning ideologies amongst young people is this mistrust of authority, but both on the left and the right, okay? Yeah. And to break this down a little bit, just slightly, obviously, something that you have seen in recent times is mistrust, especially amongst the right.
Yeah.
There's this, I'm going to talk about it more in another sense, but there's this idea of populism that will perfectly describe this mistrust, okay? Because populism is this idea of putting power amongst it's like the common power and away from the elites. I'm not kidding. That's the definition of populism, okay? And so this is what right-leaning people have been adopting in recent times. Populism is a right-leaning concept, and so because you've seen leaders like Trump, the Italian prime minister, don't know her name, she's also a conservative, whatever, and even conservatives down here like Pierre Poilievre and even Maxime Bernier, if you know who that is, crazy man, use these dog whistles like the elites, this ruling class that they're talking about, right, to kind of stoke divisions amongst people
when they are the ruling class.
It's sick.
The ruling class is looking at you guys and telling you that we need to take power away from the ruling class. When in reality, all they're trying to do is get more power into their own pockets because they are the ruling class.
Thank you.
That's all populism is.
Exactly. And they're doing this because they're trying to make a bigger divide amongst the ruled.
Yeah.
Amongst us, amongst common folk. And so this mistrust has really, really, truly been towards the right. But there is a growing mistrust among the left.
Yeah. I 1,000% agree.
100%. Because there's a growing belief amongst the youth, and honestly, it's 100% fair that politics is rigged, and it is.
It's not even just politics. We've talked about this before. People think everything's rigged. Yeah. I do. I can't sit down and watch a Leafs game anymore because I'm like, damn.
The script.
I'm like, they're never gonna make it. The script is written.
It's written.
You know what I mean? Things like sports, and obviously Sophie and I just finished our freaking political theory test. But exam. There's this idea. I think it comes from who is it? Max. Weber.
Yeah, Weber.
And he goes that things are becoming disenchanted.
Yes.
There's no magic left in the world. No one can just be like, oh, this is how things work. No, everyone is too self-aware that A, we're being lied to.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't have a B.
Yeah.
We're being lied to.
We're being lied
Actually,
to.
I don't have a B.
Go.
We're being lied to. No, go ahead.
Thank you. It's okay.
Horrible. I'm upset now.
No, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. No, but Weber and you, both of you, bring up great points. It's like we're
spit it out.
Thank you. There's no longer this this idealized or a reality anymore. We are now in this like hardcore like nothing is real.
Yeah.
Everything is written, everything is scripted, and everything is rigged.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't blame people for believing it. I believe it.
Yeah, me too.
Well, just because you are looking at the wealthy, you're looking at the ruling class, you're looking at the elite, truly the elites who are laughing at you, and they're going, you don't even matter because I'm rigging the system 10 times, so it doesn't even matter. Please look at the recent election and look at how the whole front row of Donald Trump's inauguration were the top 1% of billionaires in America. You had Bezos there. No.
I don't know. I'll Google it right now.
Who's the Amazon guy? Bezos. You had Bezos there. You had the Tesla guy, Elon Musk there. You had so many billionaires. There was so much wealth in that front row alone, and they were laughing at you because they rigged the election. Sorry, hot take, but that's not my actual take. But that's just what they're doing to you, and so this mistrust, the right has already had it because politicians on the right, people in the ruling class have already told people on the right, conservatives, hey, don't trust anybody because they're all against you. Everybody who doesn't believe in XYZ morals are all elites, and they're all working against your favor. But then you have people on the left who are now actually being like, oh my God, no, actually, there are legitimately people in the government, in these higher positions of power, who are legitimately rigging the system against me.
Well, it's this thing of wealth and capitalism that is so... And it's just rooted in lies and
deceit
mistrust, and division. And it's just like this, I don't know, like people are becoming so aware of the fact that politics is just wealth. And it's like you're going to be a successful politician if you came from money and you can produce money for the people who already have the most amount of money. And that's what politics seems like. So for left-leaning people who, you know, traditionally want to look at, you know, I want a government to do X, Y, Z for me. Yeah. They're not who politicians are trying to garner support from. No. You know what I mean? No. Like even both Democrats, Republicans, conservatives, liberals, it feels like all the politicians who are advocating for your support are all asking you for the same things. They're all telling you, we'll put more money in your pocket. Don't worry. And economics has become such a large part of politics that people don't care about traditional, like, values anymore that usually 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago, people would look at their politician and go, how can they make me live a better life? Yeah. People think a better life is money.
And that's
how they get you.
And that is how they get you. But it's just so wild to me because it's like, listen, all politics is now it's the greasing hands and the greasing of and lining the pockets of the wealthy. Yeah. It's so freaking scary because as political science students, I mean, these are the things that we study. These are the foundations we study. This is why we're like getting into these niches because legitimately we had to just study them. But like when regular people who might not come from our education background don't realize how bad this is. Yeah. They don't realize how scary and corrupt it is that politics is now moving away from how can I live the best life in my society? Yeah. How can my representative represent me fairly and correctly? And now it's gone on to truly, how can I survive under a capitalist society that is just trying to make me poor?
Who is going to make the rest of my horrible life easier? And that's all it is. It's the best of two evils, realistically. And truly, this is us talking right now where we are clearly living within an oligarchic system, especially within, Canada, especially within the United States. And this idea of oligarchy, we'll put a little definition if you're not familiar, but it's just a small, few wealthy minority ruling everyone else.
Yep, and that's what it is.
It causes this mistrust because now we're all like, well, we don't believe anything these politicians are saying.
Yeah.
So, okay, your mom sits you down, they go, okay, you're going to vote liberal when you're like 10. And then the rest of your life you grow up as a liberal because you're like, well, both sides are bad anyway, both sides are lying anyways. I'm just going to pick what I've always known. Or people don't vote.
They don't vote at all.
And we saw it with the provincial election. I'm sure we'll see it with the federal election hoping up. I can hope not.
Yeah,
we can vote as early as now, but it's just like people are apathetic towards it.
There's lower turnout.
Yeah, and it's a crazy shift that I feel like it's very important to talk about because, again, if you look 10, 15 years ago, were these divisions of society as clear? No. Was this distrust so clear? Yeah. And you have to assume that these changes is why, you know, the left is losing Gen Z because they're not, you know, advocating on the same values that they used to be.
Yeah. There's less of this, like, because I think, and this is something that is coming up, like, put this idea of performative activism. I feel like a lot of the advocacy that you're seeing from left-leaning politicians, it's performative. Yeah. Like, it is hard, obviously, to stand up to big corporations. It is hard to stand up to people with a lot of wealth. But that's what we must and have to do. Yeah. At the end of the day, the majority of citizens in any country are the middle class and the poor. Yeah. End of. The wealthy being the majority doesn't exist anywhere because only a small few can be wealthy. That's the reality. Only a small few people can be wealthy. Yeah. And so this idea that now we are pandering towards the needs of billionaires and millionaires and people with extravagant amounts of money is just so mind-boggling to me because it's like, where did we go? How did we get here? And now, what are people on the left doing? Nothing. Why are we not trying harder to lessen, first of all, the wealth gap, but second of all, why are we not trying to give voice and matter back to the people who are actually being harmed or impacted by policies? Yeah. This is why there's no trust amongst the left. Yeah. They're not doing anything. They're sitting on their hands and going, I can't do anything about it.
Well, because how are they going to compete with the other side who's promising money? Yep. How are they going to compete with the other side? Even if you look at Trump and all these things where he's throwing things at you like, oh, well, you know, we're going to take taxes off of tips. Yeah. Hey. Shouldn't have been there in the first place. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, it's hard. So it's like, it almost feels like as, you know, people who like, I'm personally, like I've always been like left leaning, but I'm looking at politics today and I'm really like, okay, like I don't know what to do. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so far from where we have come that as young people, really, it's, you know, people are either feeling apathetic towards politics in general because it's too depressing or they just don't know who of the lesser evils to go with. 100%. And it's really sick. So
100%. I don't blame, and like you said, like I even as a left-leaning person, I don't blame people for wanting to giving into like
right-wing
ideologies. Because you know what, like I would too.
If I was a father, if I was a mom and I had kids, I had to support. If I had all these jobs, like if they're gonna make, you know, my life just a little bit easier financially, then I understand that. Yeah. But we're losing what politics is supposed to be about. Political institutions are supposed to help us live good lives.
100%.
And in what way are they doing that now? They're helping us live the, you know, which one is like a little bit like less worse. Evil. Like, and I don't know.
I wrote a paper on this exact, like very close to this exact issue in my U.S. politics class where like the question, well, it doesn't really matter, but something, it was just about,
doesn't remember.
No, it was just about like what legacy will political scientists like give to Trump, something like that. But something I brought up was this idea that like there's this reformation of critical conservative values that are drastically changing conservatives as we know it. And so like when you bring up this idea of, you know, if I was a mother and I had to pay my bills, whatever, if the right is saying that they're going to give me this money, whatever, I'm going to go with it. But something else that's happening that people don't realize is that there is also a shift away from traditional conservative ideologies, which is also causing a mistrust amongst people on the right.
There's mistrust everywhere. Everyone's so divided. Nobody trusts anybody. Like, it's just a shit show. It really is.
Show. So it's like really and honestly, both parties, like if you're just being objective, are moving very far away from what their core values used to be.
Yes. And honestly, when you come back for season 2, maybe season 3, we'll see. But there was a topic that honestly, like I posed to Sophie. I was like, we're sitting here in class, we're learning about what, conservatism is and what liberalism is from the original founders of either. Yeah. And I go, this is so far off from what liberals and conservatives are today. Yeah. And I think we are going to do a deep dive. It may be a dry episode for some of you, but for my political science friends,
you're going to love it.
Honestly, to see, and now, there may be a chance for a third shift. Yeah. Because we're seeing the original liberal and conservatives, and the name is the same, but it's completely different.
Completely different.
And 10 years down the line, I guarantee it's going to be completely different again.
It just keeps shifting, which is so bizarre.
Listen,
it's
another
bizarre.
episode. Another episode. But a key point about why, there is this mistrust and everything. And again, we mentioned we were going to do an episode on media consumption because it's very important for us, we feel, to let you guys know how to best consume media or to avoid certain things. But there has been a shift in the way that Gen Z and the youth receive media about politics and how they receive their information. And this is probably one of the largest shifting factors in why the left is losing Gen Z.
Yeah,
so
100%.
I honestly, there's a lot of little things we could talk about.
Yeah. Do you want me to go in with? No, because you want. I think you want to start off first.
I was just gonna mention, obviously this idea of misinformation has completely shifted the way that everyone views politics.
No, please. I want you to go off on that point.
Yeah. Just this idea that instead of going to reputable news sources or researching here and there, and you can attribute this to the fact that we have so much mistrust of news sources, but it's also convenience. Yeah. Youth are handed all these different ways to consume media, TikTok and not Facebook, but Instagram and Twitter and all these things where they're getting media so quickly that they go, this must be true because it just happened and I heard about it. Hey, you guys are not seeing, the systems behind that are altering and limiting the research and the information that you're receiving. Yeah. And a key point that happened, I think it was a couple weeks now, but it was something about a reporter in the U.S. who was saying, Trump has just actually changed the rules about which reporters are allowed to be inside. What's it called?
It's the Oval Office, and it's this
where they do the news stuff.
The news stuff, the press secretary thing.
Yes. So he's changing the rules there so that he can decide who gets to be in that room and who doesn't get to. That little shift will change completely the way that we all receive our information
100%.
About the United States and Donald Trump during his presidency.
100%.
And just because we found out about that doesn't mean that that's the only one. In Canada, I'm sure there's a million different restrictions and limitations on, especially what's being sent to TikTok and all these things that's restricting the amount of information we have. Yeah. So it becomes infinitely easier to have misinformation given to Gen Z. Yeah. And unfortunately, a lot of it is misinformation about the left. Yeah. And that's why, we think there is a shift away from, the left right now with youth.
100%. And I mean, guys, this, the reason why I'm looking down my phone, because I had to bring up something. But this, this exact thing that Raquel's talking about, this idea of, first of all, misusing media to give you false information. These are Orwellian ideas and dangers. So if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say the word Orwellian, that's George Orwell. So he wrote books, the infamous Animal Farm in 1984. But
great reads,
great reads. Please. Oh my gosh, you'll see the world differently, 100%. But when we talk about the idea of an Orwellian reality, that comes straight from 1984, right? And so this idea that the government is slowly but surely twisting the narrative, twisting history, twisting how you perceive truth, so that they can easier. That's not a word, but more easy. Manipulate you. Yeah, it's a lot easier to manipulate the masses when you are able to manipulate the facts. When you're able to manipulate truth,
able to manipulate the sources and where people are getting their information from.
Exactly.
I don't know. It's very difficult because obviously there's misinformation about the left and the right. Yeah, we are specifically using this as an example for why the youth is leaving left.
Yes.
the left because of this idea of like the red pill pipeline.
Yeah. Let's talk about her real quick, right? Because this is where I was kind of talking about this idea of the rise of populism.
Yeah.
And so because we already have the understanding of what populism is, of course, you have seen a shift of populism in the last, I really want to say the last 5 years, okay?
Yeah.
There have been a lot of elections in especially European and Southern American countries where populist governments are now being established. Conservative governments are being established. You're having this regression, especially on certain social issues, happen, okay? And also, obviously this is because people are also thinking these ways. These governments aren't just happening because of whatever. Like, people are believing what they are saying, agreeing with their stances, and voting them in. And so where can we attribute this rise in populist ideas amongst people, especially among the youth to?
Yeah.
The red pill pipeline. This is just ridiculous. It's fascinating, but it's very, very scary because it's this idea that young people, right? They're going online, they're going on social media, especially YouTube. They're getting into these forums, Reddit. They're getting exposed to these
4chan or something.
4chan. They're getting exposed to these various like parts of the internet, right? That aren't always great for the developing mind because they can't differentiate the truth or differentiate good from bad from this because they're just receiving the information.
Yeah.
And so online, like there was a quote or someone said where they're like, my brother, he went online, he clicked a video about Minecraft, and then in the suggested were a bunch of Andrew Tate videos, and then a bunch of videos about like alpha males and about republicanism.
Yeah.
And she was like, how? So these very, very big and honestly harmful, toxic
communities
tropes,
or
tropes,
yeah,
and ideologies are being pushed onto young people through seemingly it's not nefarious, seemingly like innocent ways. Seemingly innocent ways.
Yeah.
You can go online, you think you're clicking one thing, you're going to read something, and then all of a sudden you've fallen down a rabbit hole of dangerous ideologies.
Yeah.
And that's how the red pill pipeline has been constructed, because from this one seemingly innocent video or whatever, inconspicuous video or topic, a child or a young person legitimately ends up clicking another video that leads them to this ideology, that leads them to this ideology, and then all of a sudden they become an incel.
I mean, guys, if you guys have not seen Adolescence on Netflix, if you guys have it, I really recommend watching it.
Yeah.
It is probably one of the first pieces of mass scene media, like in our current time, that really is talking about this red pill pipeline. Yeah. And this, if you guys I think it originally comes from The Matrix, famous film,
red
where
pill,
people
blue
think
pill.
they're taking the red pill and they're going to see the world as it truly is.
Yeah.
But in reality, the way that it's been formed with Andrew Tate and all this stuff is a way to get youth to believe harmful things 100%. And to treat women like they're less than men, and that men need, traditional lives, and conservatism is the best way to do anything, and money.
Money.
Hustle culture is another great part of this. Like, we joke around and we talk about like Ashton Hall, he wakes up at 3 a.m. and starts his day and whatever, but this idea that, people can just hustle their way to the top and everyone can be wealthy, everyone's going to be a millionaire one day.
Bootstraps.
Exactly. Like, it's inherently connected with the red pill pipeline, which is inherently connected with social media 100%. And the way that youth consumes media.
100%.
So when you're seeing Gen Z, who 10, 15 years ago was originally very progressive and trying to make the greatest efforts they can to promote, human equality and peace and all these things, and there's a shift, you must look at what the kids are consuming and what they're looking at. Because if you don't critically think about the media that you're consuming, you just, it's just TikTok, you come out with some really harmful values.
100%.
And when you place economics and wealth and greed over top of humanity and things like environmentalism, things like whatever, it's dangerous. So they translate that. They take these harmful things, they go, okay, well, I believe this, that. Yeah. They're all harmful. They're all hateful towards my peers and, people who deserve rights. I'm going to look at parties and, okay, the left and the right. We're not saying that the right is the one promoting these ideas, but between the two, they're going to go to the right.
100%.
Because within hustle culture, within red pill pipeline, it's all this hate, but it's also, make money.
Exactly.
And right now, the way that conservatives and Republicans lead is make money.
Yeah.
So they don't even look at anything. You ask somebody, okay, why did you vote for Trump? Why do you think Pierre Poilievre would be a great leader? Very rarely in our university town and the people that we talk to, do they go, I like his policies about this. I like his background working as an MP. I like this. I think he'll be better for the economy.
Yeah.
Can you explain further?
Just economy.
Just the economy.
Trudeau was so bad.
Yeah, we need
Trudeau.
a change. We need a guys.
And it's so funny because it's even in like people who are in intellectual spaces. We were literally on the phone with our friend the other day.
Yeah.
In our program, he's in poli-sci. He's a conservative. That's totally fine, right?
Yeah, 1,000%.
And we were even between Carney and between Poilievre, we're realistically, we gave our reasons as to why maybe you might want to vote Carney. Personally, but we were just objectively, we were like, there are these things where I feel like Carney could be good at. We're like, we can recognize that Pierre could also be a potentially good ruler. But for him, he said, he's like, you're right, honestly, they're both pretty good, but I just think I'm going to go towards Poilievre. And we were kind of like, well, why? And he couldn't give an answer. And here's the thing, if it's just your own personal distinction where you're just like, I just have a better feeling than that person, okay, as a citizen,
you have your vote. You do what you want to do.
That's your prerogative. But our concern is that people are doing that, but just for no reason, just because they feel like
TikTok.
Because of TikTok,
in a sense,
and it's because of their association to these harmful ideas that they see as good.
Yeah. 1,000%. I mean, you'll have those TikTokers. What's that one guy's name? Charlie Kirk, maybe.
Yeah.
People like that who get on TikTok and they make one video and it agrees with one belief that you have. Let's say it's on pro-life content. You go, okay, you know what? This guy, he says being pro-life is good. I agree with that. So what? He's a conservative? Okay, I'm going to be a conservative because my ideology is aligned with that.
Exactly.
There's so much more that goes into making political decisions, to supporting 100%. Political parties. Yeah. And I think because of all this, I don't know, maybe it's laziness, maybe it's apathy, I don't know what it is, but people go online, they go, okay, well, I saw, this one TikTok saying this about that, so that's who I'm going to vote for. People are less inclined to become politically educated.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%.
And I think because that, people don't want to become politically educated, so they go to whatever, social media is telling them. 100%. And a lot more than it is towards the left, it's people pushing towards the right.
And listen, there's going to be a lot of these. These are truly what we have observed as this push towards the right. You pass this video, if you go do your own research, you're going to see a lot of people who would say completely opposite things.
Yeah,
they're going to say, well, you know what? It's true. As a society, we've just become so morally corrupted that we had to go back to traditionalism.
Yeah.
And listen, that is for you to make your own interpretations off of.
Exactly.
However, as you continue to hear these reasons, hear different people and their perspectives, really, really, really keep in mind their position in society, where they are coming from, what they gain and they benefit from saying certain things, okay, and why they might portray that towards their audience.
1,000%.
Again, media being media conscious, being media literate is so important because you will not realize the nefarious backgrounds of some people and why they might be pushing or saying certain ideologies until it's too late.
People are worried about AI. Bro, you got to be worried about everything you're consuming nowadays.
Everything.
Because it's so easy for people to change.
And it's on both sides. I've seen
1,000%.
I've seen the most sinister people on the left promoting the most insane ideas, and I'm just that is so harmful. Same thing on the right.
Incredible. Yeah, exactly.
And so please be very careful.
Yeah.
And so as we kind of wrap this up, I remember I said I had a question. So something that I think I want you guys, and honestly we are going to as well, really, really think about is that as we're talking now about this idea that people believe that there's this movement away from more left-leaning ideologies, there's this movement away from liberalism. Well, it's not liberalism, but the liberal party, let's say.
Yeah.
Liberal parties in many countries.
Yeah.
As we were talking, I kind of had this thought where I was like, well, people on the left, if they aren't moving towards the right, let's say some people are, they're going to go, okay, I'm going to become more conservative, it's fine. But if they aren't, let's say the people who are staunchly liberal, who very much believe in these progressive ideologies, if they're not moving towards the right, where are they moving to?
Yeah.
And this is where it's a hot take, but my question is, are they going to be moving towards more hard left ideologies? And when we talk about hard left ideologies, we're talking about things like communism.
Yeah.
And so, which, hey, we're not going to debate or argue or talk about today because it's a very, very thick subject.
Yeah.
But I really want you to think, because while there is a movement towards the right, do we also think there's a movement further left?
Yeah.
And what does that movement mean?
What does that look like?
What does that look like
10,
for
15
us?
years down the line? It's crazy. Like we don't ask this question with the assumption that the left party is left party, but like left-leaning parties are the ideal. No. That's not what we're saying whatsoever. We encourage all of you to become as politically educated as you personally can, and then make your choice when it comes to deciding what party is best.
100%.
However, there's no denying that the shift that we've talked about today, that all these little features like social media, like mistrust, like the wealth gap between the ultra wealthy and us, these things are marking a significant change. So, we hope we don't, come across as we're going, everyone's leaving the left, that's so bad. No. We're telling you, there was strong support for left-leaning ideologies and traditional liberal policies and things like that for years. Yeah. There's a shift. Where are we going next?
Yeah. And that's simply the question that we are trying to pose here. We're coming from our own perspectives and from our own understandings and observations.
1,000%.
And listen, this could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. That's up to us as a society to determine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're coming to you as two political science students, as we have this whole season. And telling you about the things that we see. Like, we are, very lucky to be two political science students, also living through two major elections in a very volatile political time.
Very divisive state.
Exactly. Like, division is at an all-time high. So it's always very important to look at questions like these and, try to come to the bottom of it. Because,
and like you said, there's nothing wrong with asking questions, bro.
Absolutely not. Ask as many questions as you can, bro.
She loves to ask questions.
It's my favorite thing.
And you know what? It's very, very, very important.
It is.
It's very important. And don't ever be afraid to ask questions or to propose controversial theories, because that is how, as a society, we continue to progress positively and not negatively. I think a lot of people are afraid to bring up crazy ideas like communism, for example. Boo, scary. Who cares? These are actual things that are happening to actual people. Ask these questions. Yeah. There should be nothing scary about them.
That's all we want to do in this podcast. So, you know what? As we wrap up here, just for the end, we want to give you guys a big thank you for all the support. Like, genuinely, this has just been such an incredible experience. I am so grateful to have, Sophie here with me. I couldn't imagine anyone else I would do it with. And
you guys, such a fun
it's been so fun. It's great. And asking these big political questions, we sit here and we talk about it on the daily at our kitchen table. So why not pose it to you guys and bring you along for the ride?
And everyone's just been so supportive. Like, everyone in our school, everyone in our social circles, and it's just like, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we appreciate everybody who sits down and watches full episodes.
Yes.
They get lengthy at times. We blab, but they're really important.
They are.
And we thank you so much.
Yeah.
So I'm going to plug our socials up above.
Follow.
And they're always at the end of the video, too, if you ever hear the end credits. Also, I don't know if we ever said this, but my brother's song is the song that we use at the end.
It's gas.
It's gas.
So good.
I'm going to create a petition to have him release it. He refuses to, but he's going to. Please sign it. Thank you to everyone who made this possible. Dre Dixon, thank you so much for
our amazing intro song. We love him.
You.
And you know what? Everyone, have a fantastic summer.
Amazing
we have a
summer.
lot planned for season 2. I know we were supposed to get, a TA in this semester.
Yes.
Unfortunately,
couldn't happen.
Circumstances changed, but we have him rescheduled in for the fall.
Yeah,
and
a little bit later.
Few professors and a few other people who have some great topics to talk about.
Some very special people, I think.
I'm really excited.
Second season's going to hit off with an absolute banger.
Bang.
So
stay tuned. You better be back in 3 months.
You better.
For the big comeback.
TikTok, guys. TikTok. But until then, peace, FamJam.
I'ma go hit from the back, and I keep me a Mac in my backpack. If a nigga want smoke, he can have that. Fresh and OGs make a ass fat. Say you shooting shit up at this rat cat. Got a brand new whip, but I crashed that. Shorty saw me too good, pay the cash app. Yeah. talking all shit, man, you best with a vest. I got niggas that shoot it like young, but not test. I got water on my neck, but it's